In this lecture, we will explore the feature Draft. Draft enables you to easily create tilted surfaces. In industry, drafts are commonly used in molded parts. To illustrate this feature, we will create the following model. You can download this drawing from the download section linked to this lecture. To create the model, we will be following this plan. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and start a new part. First, we will make sure our measurement system is set to millimeter as per our drawing. So if we go to the lower corner, it is actually set to millimeters. So I'm going to start by creating the basic cubical shape. So I'm going to select the top plane and create my first square. I'm going to have the two sides equal each other since it's a square, and then I'm going to have the side equal to 100 millimeter as per the drawing. I'm going to extrude this to 80 millimeter as per the drawing as well. So now we are done with our first stage. So I'm going to go ahead and start creating the second part, which is the conical shape on the top. So I'm going to select this top surface here. I'm going to select sketch. Now, since I want the sketch to be the same square, I can just select the surface and use the convert entity, and that will create us the same square we created earlier. Now I'm going to go to feature again. I'm going to select extruded boss. Now the height of this is 60 millimeter as in the drawing. However, as we can see from the drawing, the shape is not a straight extrude, rather it is drafted to a 25 degrees. So if we go to this feature here, we will see an icon and it says draft. If we click on draft, we will get degrees in there, and we can increase that. So now it's 1 degrees. If we select, or if we increase it to 30 degrees, you're going to notice the different shape we get. Now in the drawing, we want it to be 25 degrees. So we're going to select 25 degrees. Notice below that there is an option that says draft outward. If we select draft outward, we will notice the draft goes the other way. However, we don't want that in this, so we're going to unselect drafts outward. Now we're done with this part. We're going to click OK. So we have just used our first basic draft feature, which is embedded within the extruded boss. So let's go ahead and start the third part, which is the lower conical shape. So again, we're going to select the lower surface. We're going to go to sketch, and we're going to use convert entity again, and then we're going to go to extruded boss. The depth of this extruded boss is 60 millimeters, which is already set from our previous use. And then we're going to use draft again. So we're going to select draft. This time the draft angle is 35. So we're going to write 35 here. Also, this other draft is outward. So we're going to select draft outward, and we're going to end up with this shape. If we click OK, we are done with our third part of the sketch. Now we're going to go ahead and create the fourth part, which is the drafted cut at the bottom of the shape. So we're going to select this lower surface and go to sketch. We're going to go normal to sketch, and we're going to sketch a rectangle. The distance between the edge of our shape to the edge of this rectangle is 20 millimeter as per the drawing. So we have this as 20 millimeter, and then we're going to make those two sides equal each other since it's a square. Now we're gonna do cut extrude. So we're gonna go extruded cut, and the cut here is set at 20 millimeters, and so we have our cut. Now we're gonna go ahead and explore another way of doing a draft. If we go in the features menu on the top, we will have a feature called draft, and that is a standalone feature, unlike the one embedded in extruded boss or extruded cut. So if we select this, we're going to have multiple options appear to us in the side. First, we have the draft angle, and from the drawing we have the draft angle at 35, so we're going to go ahead and write 35. The second option is called neutral plane. Now in draft surfaces, there are two things that happen. There is a surface that remain the same and another surface that get drafted. So for neutral plane, we're going to select this lower plane here, because this lower plane is unchanged in the drawing. So if we select that, and then faces to draft are the faces that we'll apply the feature to, and in our case we'll apply it to those inside faces. So we're going to select the first face, second face, third face, and fourth face. So those are the four faces we are drafting, and this is our neutral face or our neutral plane. If we click OK, you will notice we have applied a draft. Let's go back and experiment a little bit here. So if I change the neutral face or the neutral plane from this one in the bottom to the one on the top, and then click OK, we will notice that this surface or this plane or face on the top did not change in measurement, and the draft went inward, taking away from this plane at the bottom. However, this is not what we want, so we're going to go ahead and change that again and click OK. Now we're going to go ahead and start our final part, which is this bit sticking out from the side. So we're going to select one of the sides, sketch, we'll go normal to the surface, and we will again draw a square. Have the two sides equal each other, and the side length is 30 millimeters. Now this square should be centered on the face, so we're going to go ahead and use construction lines to help us do this. We're going to have one construction line like this, another construction line like this, and then we're going to select those construction lines, 1, 2, and then we're going to select the center of the square, and then we're going to add the relation intersection. If we do that, we'll get a fully defined sketch and the square at the center. So now back to features, extruded boss, and this is extruded by 20 millimeter as per the drawing. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. Now we're going to go ahead and apply this cut or this tilted surface on the side, and to do this again we will use the standalone draft feature. So if we select draft again, the angle is 20 degrees, so we're going to go ahead and select 20, and then under the neutral plane we will select this base plane here, and the faces to draft, we are drafting this upper face only, so we're going to go ahead and select that and click OK. And we have our drafted feature. Now just one thing to note, the draft angle that is being measured is as shown here. You should keep this in mind whenever you create a draft feature. Let's go ahead and do another experiment here. So if we change the face from this one at the bottom to the other one at the top, we will notice that this face on the top remained unchanged and the draft went outward into this lower surface. However, again, that's not what we want. So we're going to go ahead and change the neutral plane back to the lower one and click OK. And here again, you will notice that this lower surface remained the same while the draft went inward, taking away from this upper face. And this basically sums up the multiple uses of the feature draft. So while we're at it here, go ahead and create additional drafts to this model and experiment with the feature.